The following podcast is run by a couple of former wheel turners and one pit guy. It's meant for entertainment, not so much information, but sometimes there's some good information. The opinions expressed are just, these are the morons on the show. Not necessarily right, not necessarily wrong, not the views of any of the sponsors or anything like that. So, these guys, they're going to be talking, they might swear here and there, so if that offends you, either grow up or get a little permission from mom and dad.
All right, race fans, switching it up a little bit this week here. Bert on hiatus. That's why I wore the Vikings hat, undefeated in the preseason, probably winning the Super Bowl. Okay, probably not. I call bullshit on that one. Probably not. All right, episode number 238. Ryan Aho here, Coach Kraus, and we got my boy Changa, Jim McClellan, in the house with us here tonight. Now, Coach, he says he's not a Packer, right? He lives in Wisconsin. He's literally wearing a Wisconsin
You might
shirt.
not want to go any further.
He's wearing a Wisconsin shirt. I'm just saying, it's a Superior Spartan shirt. I get it. His kids go to school there. All right, he's not
They're
a Packer.
born in Minnesota.
Fine. All right, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. All right, episode 238 anyway, brought to you by Impact Health Sharing. So that time of year, open enrollment right around the corner. If you're in the market, you're looking for affordable health care, you're paying too much for health insurance, maybe you got super high deductibles and you're like, this is brutal, or maybe you have certain doctors that you like, but they're not in your network. I might have an alternative for you, but it might be able to save you a bunch of money. No particular network, so you can go to any provider that you want. It's called Impact Health Sharing. Family plans coming in around $650 a month. $2,500 deductible for the whole household. So that's super cool. So it's been a really, really good deal for a lot of people. Hit me up. I can get you a quote, get you some information. That's Impact Health Sharing. My number, 218-969-1380. Text me, call me, hit me up on Messenger, whatever you got to do. So, little recap from this past weekend. I know Coach Kraus, so probably going to wait to kind of make somebody eat some crow till a little bit later, but top five for Coach Kraus. So had another track promoter there with his super stock, and I will say that Kraus got the better of him. So that was good to see. Congratulations on that. You got in the tech shed, not just in the tech shed, like breaking up fights, but actually your car was in there. I was surprised. I didn't know if you remembered how to get there, but you did. So, what's your thoughts, Kraus? You bringing a little bit of momentum into this doubleheader weekend at Viking? You going to improve on that? Maybe a couple podiums, maybe a sticker? What do we got?
Well, I think the best part about it is what you forgot is I won a heat race. And we're one of the tracks that pay for heat races, Changa. So I got an extra $30. So I was pretty pumped about that whole deal. And actually, I don't know if you got a chance to watch the Superstock feature at Viking. It was really, really good. Travis Sauer and Trevor Sauer and Travis Scott, they ran side by side for 15 laps, like literally 15 laps. And Matt Miller and myself were running for third and fourth, and we were basically side by side for a lot. And then Mr. 19X Trantina joined the mix a little bit, but I just found a different lane, and I was catching the leaders a little bit. And I'm gonna have to call my chassis builder, Jeff Lattin from Flat Out Performance, and ask him why my right front shock was laying on the track for 6 laps over in the corners of 3 and 4. So I lost my right front shock, and I was going down, you know how the straightaways are, Alec. You read a book and take a nap and realize, I got turn 1 coming up. Car started shaking really bad at the end of the straightaway. I thought I bulminated a tire. I was about ready to lose my mind on Hoosier, a bulminated tire, but I lost my right front shock. So overall, it was a good night. I finished. It is what it is. Got some momentum, big weekend, and hopefully we can get that baby in victory lane this weekend.
Well, I'm sporting the 29 star garb here, so I feel safe. There's nobody here knows you, so I'm not going to get shot at. So, not that I know of anyway, so that's a plus. But carry that momentum. Let's see if you can get in victory lane. Got to be honest, I don't know. The parts laying all over the track. It's a one-to-go show theme here. I went down to Sycamore this past week, and I worked all week with Brian on the phone, the Pure Stock guy that Changa said that he's going to get a win before you, by the way. Just figured I'd point that out. Well, it helps.
That was from Anonymous, by the way.
Yeah, it's not anonymous anymore. He knew who it was anyway. But it helps if you. So 2 weeks ago, he had a terrible time trials. They time trial all the time, and he didn't have a good lap, right? Well, this week he's like, well, hold my beer. I just won't time trial at all because had to make some changes to the front end, fix the geometry, get the caster camber right, and made an error in judgment bolting the hub back together. And literally, I'm watching, right, and the freaking left front tire is flopping around on the racetrack. The outer bearing fell off and the nut and everything fell off the spindle in hot laps. And I'm like, guy, I mean, it's kind of hard to get on him because he's like not mechanically inclined at all, but he's working at it and he's trying and he's making an effort. Didn't get to run the heat and started in the back of the feature. I think he started 18th, got up to 6th. So he had a good run, and it's painful because it's like he has a good car. I feel like he can win. He can get up there, but I mean, when you start behind the 8 ball, it's a bad deal. And Dave, another good run. Not what he's hoping for. Car's a little snug in the middle of the corner. Did get second. Had a pretty good hot rod, just not quite good enough to win. So got to go down with them guys in Sycamore this past weekend. Changa, I know you watched a bunch of racing. We'll talk about that. Did you do anything fun and exciting? Hey, I never did ask you how'd the kid do in the golf tournament. I know he was leading going into the final day. How'd that turn out?
Well, the first day he was leading after the first day. The second day was a scramble, so his team did get second on the second day. So, I mean, it was one of them deals where before the tournament starts, people can place bets on individual players and teams and everything, and someone won like $9,000 off of them. So it was a good deal for him anyhow.
Somebody should maybe give him a cut of that. I'm just saying,
well,
right? That's
that not allowed. Trevor is an NCAA golfer, so he can't collect any money, but,
That's
probably some McDonald's or something like that.
Kraus, what is that deal called? Is it NIL money, or is that what it's called with college? So, that's his NIL money. He can get money now, right? In college. So, I mean, he's good to go. He's safe now. So, yeah, tell you what, I mean, them kids are good athletes all around. So, did you go watch them, or did you just get the update from them?
Nope. I just totally got updates. Me and my youngest boy, we were over doing a fantasy football draft while he was out playing the second day.
Oh, okay. So, a couple updates here. We talked last week a little bit about Shane Sabraski, torn bicep. I did talk to him. Of course, he raced, and let's be honest, he went to Rapids. He went to Superior Thursday, Friday. They got some rain. They got a lot of water in the track. It was cowboy up, and I texted him. I said, man, you didn't look very comfortable on that cowboy up stuff. He's like, I always suck on that rough and tacky and cushion type stuff. I'm like, I don't know if you suck on anything. I mean, he is more of a dry slick guy. Then he goes to Ogilvy, smooth dry. He wins all 3 features, gets a first and 2 second last night. No real news yet on when surgery is going to be. Of course, he had the heart issue, right? So I know they're kind of working through that. They have to kind of work with the cardiologist. I think he's on some blood thinners. So no real word on when the surgery is. So for all of you guys racing against the 7A this weekend, too bad, so sad. You're going to see a lot of them, especially up north, and it is what it is. So get well there, Shane Sabraski. Another thing here, TB81, man, oh man. And I have a feeling I'm trying to get a word in with Billiam here this week, see if maybe Changa and I can get an interview. Probably going to happen here sometime this week, but they're not doing anything for him, Coach. Changa, I think you kind of heard a little bit about this too. He's running second in national points, literally on the heels of Dean Larson to try to take the point lead over up in Grand Rapids. Wissota Tech was there. Disqualified him for unwritten rules. Absolute bunch of bullshit. For all you out there that are kind of wondering, like, why did he get DQ'd? They said illegal carburetor. He had screw and air bleeds inside the carburetor. Literally all it said in there was, you got to have a Holley 4412. Here's the part number. Can't remove the choke horn. That's the only rules that was there, right? And They disqualified him, give him 30 days, took all his points away. Absolute travesty, just a complete dumpster fire on what Wiota did. But here's what's cool. Not real cool for him, but Landon Rant ran his car, and he won at Ogilvy. And did you guys see in Victory Lane and in the pictures the sign that they had on the car? Coach, did you see that?
Yeah, I believe somebody sent me a picture, popped up on my phone.
Yeah, it said unwritten rules with a circle around it and a line through it, right? And it just is what it is. We talked about this last year, this unwritten rules. I mean, you know, you take a look at in the national points right now, nobody's safe, right? We're looking at a guy like Tyler Peterson. Tyler Peterson's got 20 wins. Think he probably has it locked up. He might get disqualified this week. He might get disqualified. I don't know if you guys noticed, he's got a blue car. That's an unfair advantage, and probably going to get disqualified up in Hibbing for that. And I mean, you're probably thinking it don't say you can't have a blue car. Doesn't say that. Well, it doesn't
say you can
anywhere. It doesn't say you can. So Tyler, you run that blue car at your own risk. Okay, you might want to get approval. Does not say in the rule books that a blue car is legal. So I'm just saying, nobody is safe when Billy has his unwritten rules. Nobody is safe out there. Race at your own risk in Wiota country.
Ryan, but there is rumor he's going to pull out the old white and green Harry Gant car for specials in the late model, so he might be safe.
Yeah, and that might be why, right? He might have caught wind, possibly, that they kind of have a target on his back for the blue car, and he might have got wind of that, and that might be why he's switching to the green. If you see him in the green and white car, that's why. Okay, that's probably what happened. All right, let's jump into it, guys. Top 5 stories of the week, and not a lot of real hard-hitting, big, stories, but we have a few, and we're going to just touch on some stuff. Brought to you, let's give a shout-out here to one of our big sponsors, Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating in Ashland, Wisconsin. So Chonga's got to know Chris Bredding very well. Of course, he pitted for me, and they sponsored me for a number of years. Great group of guys over there. Proud sponsor of the #1 series in all of Wiota racing, the Fastlane Northland Superstock Series. Home of the Galloper chassis. They service a lot of different racetracks in the Northland. They do custom powder coating, sandblasting, you name it. They do it. They take good care of you. Very good group of guys up there. Get a hold of Chris and the gang up at Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating. That's in Ashland, Wisconsin. So, guys, let's jump to number 5, and let's talk a little super late model racing. A few storylines in super late model racing. But the biggest one, and we'll start here, is New Mexico represent. Garrett Alberson has had a really good year. He's been nipping on the heels. He's been there. He's been close. And finally got his first Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Series A-Main win this past Friday night at Port Royal up there. And it was close. I mean, he barely nipped. I mean, just by a nose, nipped Devin Moran for the win. What else stuck out to you guys this past weekend from late model racing in general on the national scene? World of Outlaws, Lucas Oil, what storyline stuck out to you guys? Chonga, you go ahead first.
Well, that Alberson win was a really sweet one. I mean, it looked for a second like Huddy was going to drive by and take that one away, and I don't know what happened there. And then Alberson got to second, and Moran just jumped the cushion 2 laps in a row and let him by. And God, it was a close finish, and I'm happy for Alberson to get that win.
Pierce long
stays
time
hot.
coming.
Right, Pierce stays hot, 2 firsts and a second. Outside of that, Shirley still running up front here another 2 weeks in a row. He's up front in that new Longhorn. So, other than that, JD, another $50,000 win.
When the money's on the line, he shows up, especially when it's slippery and shined up, that type of track. I mean, when it comes down to the chase format at the end of the year for the Lucas Oil, I mean, JD's not been the top guy all year. It's basically been, Moran and RTJ, if he can get it going, in that ride, in the Kaler ride. Is it fair to say that if the track's all slick off, JD could maybe be the favorite if that happens?
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like Moran's pretty fast on that stuff. RTJ might be the cream of the crop. He's figuring his thing out. And I don't know. It's going to be a whale of a battle. I'm excited to see it.
Coach, did you see the little bit of drama there between RTJ and Huddy?
I just saw the picture of that deal. I didn't see anything on Saturday. But first off, Chonga, Elberson went to 1 if McCready went to bro. So, because that race is over. McCready was winning that race. Okay. And he was just winning. So Elberson caught a break. And you guys talking about that chase deal. I tell you right now, they don't want Tim McCready in that chase deal. I'm going to put that on it right now because honestly, in the last few weeks, he's probably been the most consistent, just as fastest guy in that 4 or 5 car bunch. So that's a big point deal right there. Looking at how close him and Huddy were, that's going to go down right to the wire. So, and like I said, McCready's been running really, really good right now. So I didn't see, like I said, I saw the picture of Thornton's. I'm pretty sure it was Thornton's right rear quarter panel wedged into somebody into Huddy. So, but I did not see the incident or what happened. Or was there any interviews after that? Was there any talk after that?
RTJ was talking some smack. Chonga, did you see that? You remember what he said?
Well, I heard about it. I mean, is that the deal where Huddy ended up getting a flat too?
I don't know if he got a flat, but I guess I don't remember him getting a flat. Maybe, but all I know is he basically said, "It is what it is. I'm racing hard." I mean, he ran over a lapper the night before, and it's like, it is what it is. Move over, get out of my way. I'm going to the front.
He's got a little chip on his shoulder.
There's a little bit of bitterness there for sure, and it's good to see. I mean, dirt late model racing needs that. You got to have that little bit of rivalry. Another thing here, you guys see Turbo absolutely yard sale Cade Dillard?
Oh, that wasn't pretty. It wasn't
Kraus,
pretty.
Did you see that?
Oh.
I did, yes.
No fault caution, right? So Turbo gets his spot back. And I missed it. I had somebody reach out and say, "Did you see Ruben's reaction to that?" And evidently he had a react. Did you see it? Did you hear Ruben's reaction?
He went off for I literally thought Ruben was going to grab like an axe or a fire extinguisher or something and go down there and just take care of Turbo because Ruben or swing his purse or however you want to. He's gonna do something. He ain't going to do nothing vicious, but it got to the point where it was like, okay, Ruben, we get the point. You obviously love Cade Dillard and you do not like Turbo. And to be 100% honest with you, usually Ruben tries to beat around the bush when stuff like that happens or the track or, blah, blah, blah. There was no letting back on this one. And it was actually getting a little ridiculous about how he kept going on and on about Dillard getting screwed and getting taken out.
No favoritism there. I wonder if he got talked to by World Racing Group because they kind of like to toe the political line there. And Turbo's a fan favorite, so I'm kind of interested to see if maybe he got a talking to because usually you don't kind of pick sides in the announcer's booth, and that was a little bit on the dramatic side for sure. So a lot of action in the super late model world this past week. Let's jump in to number 4, which is a little buggy action. And there was, of course, 2 swings going on, right? You had the World of Outlaw swing. You had the high limit swing, which again, we do this week. A lot of money on the line this week. Holy shit. Over $100,000 to win up at Skagit, $100,000 and $250 to win at Huset's. I mean, this is a big, big week for sprint car racing. But is there anybody hotter right now in the World of Outlaws than Carson Macedo? 3 of his last 4. He's kind of found some speed in the last month here.
Chonga, you don't want it? You're just gonna,
I was going to say, don't hold back, boys. I mean, hey, I'm going to be like Bobby Euchre. Come on, look, a little color commentary here. Come on, add in, guys.
Well, Chonga's been so good at interrupting everybody while we're trying to talk. He just jumps in right in the middle and starts blabbering. So I figured I'd let him blabber first.
Ouch.
Did you guys get a chance to watch any of the buggy action this week in World of Outlaw or High Limit? Either one of you, Chonga.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Coach.
I'm trying to debate here, trying to decide what I watched or what I can't remember because the High Limit stuff had some stuff during the week, correct?
You are a master debater.
And I don't remember. There he is chirping again, right in the middle of our word. Right, I'm trying to get my train of thought here. I'm getting old, Chonga, and I got CTE because I'm a hockey player.
Right.
Took too many pucks to the head. I wasn't even a goalie, so I'm trying to put my train of thoughts here. But I didn't watch much. It was pretty busy, but with the Carson Macedo thing, it's almost out of the blue that he won 3 out of 4, because you guys remember back a few months ago, he was really good there. I mean, Bert, I think, is a Carson Macedo lover anyway. He was like, this thing's over. Macedo, this. He was picking him every week, and then he went. I mean, just wasn't the Carson Macedo there for a while. Now all of a sudden it's like, boy, here we go. So it's really weird watching those guys, especially the sprint car guys. The late model guys are too, but the sprint car guys seem to be way more up and down than the late model guys. So it was like I said, we're always looking for parity, and we're always looking for that one extra person to jump into the shots battle with gravel, and the guys running up there. Who's going to hop in with Pierce? Obviously Gustin getting a win there, and then who's going to be battling RTJ and Davenport? Is Marlar or Elberson, whoever that guy is going to be. So we just like parity, but I thought kind of pretty surprising. Not surprised, but surprising right now is what Macedo's done for him to dominate and take 3 out of 4.
He's been good ever since Knoxville. Didn't he get runner-up at the Knoxville Nationals? And then he's been good ever since then. They found something. I don't know what they were lacking, but they found something. And, this stretch run, he's got a lot of work to do to catch gravel. He's got over 100-point lead, I think 110 on shots. Macedo's literally only a couple points back from shots, so he could jump into second here this week down in Houston. But it's going to take a lot to catch gravel. He's got over 100-point lead. There's not a lot of racing left. Changa, any chance either one of those two, Macedo or Shots, track down gravel? Can he self-destruct enough to let somebody else into the conversation?
I seriously doubt it. I mean, he's an experienced veteran that's been doing this a long time. He's going to get his program back on track. I'm going to put him on the not so hot list this week, and he'll probably win. So I'm not too worried about David Gravel. He's proven he can run up front for the long run.
So in sprint car racing, shifting over to high limits, one of the biggest names right now in the sport, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's been a lot of really good racing in the sprint cars, but I think the hottest young gun in 2024 has to be Corey Day. Man Bun Dan has been picking him, left and right for about 2 months straight. And boy, he's been on fire. He won a prelim night and the A main down at the Silver Dollar Speedway. I think that was 50, 60 grand to win. That was a pretty good payday down there. I mean, is he right now the number one driver in high limits? Would you say that's Corey Day right now?
I think you have to say so. Kyle Larson hasn't been running the series much as of late, if at all, after his 6 in a row, was it? Did he win 6 in a row or something? I mean, He had the Knoxville Nationals and stuff in there, but whatever. But Sweet's been borderline on the not hot list as of late. Tyler Courtney started the world on fire to start the season, and obviously he's been consistent, but not really winning too much. And I mean, every time that green flag drops, it seems to be here comes Corey Day wherever he's starting. If he's starting up front, he's battling for the lead. My big thing is he's not afraid of them guys either. He was chucking sliders the other day, him and Rico. He was going at it with Sweet. So I would definitely have to say right now he's the guy, and he's no fear, literally no fear. And I think that's the one thing that Sweet and those guys, those older veterans, not going to like that, because he's a no fear kind of guy, and he's not afraid right now. He's definitely putting fear in everybody else.
I think he's pretty young too. I don't even know if he's 20. I think he's 18, 19 years old. You can look if you want. He's not very old, so he's definitely somebody to keep an eye on. He also won an a late model race over in North Carolina earlier this year too. So could he be one of them guys that maybe transitions into some of the pavement stuff? I mean, he's obviously a wheel man. He's going to be fun to watch. Corey Day, keep an eye on that guy. Let's jump into number 3 here. Let's go local here. Wissota point battles heating up. The final week of we'll call it the regular season, ended this past weekend. We're getting into Labor Day weekend, which officially the start of the postseason in Wissota racing is a Silver 1000 this coming Thursday at the Proctor Speedway. Now, we're going to talk about a handful of the point battles. We got a couple more we're going to save for just a couple slots up here. But late model action right now, Tyler Peterson. Now, keep in mind, guys, late models take your best 20 shows. Okay, your best 20. Tyler Peterson just hit 20 shows. So he's in the catbird seat right now. He's chucking 111s, meaning that's 11 or 10 to 15 cars. So he's got to have 16 cars or more at the event to even gain a point. If he shows up at a track and there's 13 cars, don't matter if he wins laps of field, he ain't gaining a point. So Tyler Peterson, from here on out, if they don't have 16 cars or more, that show is absolutely meaningless when it comes to Wiota points. With that said, he's got a pretty solid lead because Shane Sabraski is sitting second. Shane has 14 wins, but he does not have as many 113-point wins. Is there a chance that Shane Sabraski or Dustin Strand could track down Tyler Peterson? Now, here's where we're at. 10 113s for TPO. That's full car count, 26 or more. Sabraski only has 4, and he also has 1 less 112. So essentially, for Sabraski to pass Tyler Peterson, he needs 7 wins of 26 cars or more in the late model to jump over Tyler Peterson, and that's without Tyler Peterson getting any more big car count wins. Is it possible that happens? What do you guys think?
I would never ever put anything beyond Shane Sabraski, but it's a 1% chance. I mean, TPO's probably going to snag another point or two, or maybe another 113 or 112 along the way. I mean, he don't lose very often either. Shane's going to make a push, but ultimately, I don't see it happening.
I mean, he's bet. Let's just face it. Tyler Peterson, Cole Searing's been good. Sabraski's been good, but Tyler Peterson's kind of been the dominant guy most of the season, and it's going to be tough. Strand is there. Strand's got a bunch of wins. The problem is they just don't get 26 or more up in NLRA region. So I think he's sitting in position probably to get third. He could maybe slide to second, but man, it's TPO's race to lose in that one. And I think at this point, his goal is just go win as much as he can and enjoy the postseason. Now, I got a question for both of you. Changa, you were along for the ride for many of our national championship seasons, or all of it. Let me rephrase that. All of my national championship seasons, you were along for the ride. You were there. Now, Kraus, we've been buddies for the whole time. If you're Tyler Peterson, right, how much of a weight is off your shoulders knowing that the work is done, right? The work is done. Now he can just focus. Of course, he's got the challenge here. He's trying to win that. Other than them 4 shows and 1 more at the 100, how much more of a relief is it that you can just focus on winning invitationals and having fun at the specials rather than having to chase points in September and early October?
I don't even know if that's a thing. I don't. I mean, I think you're nervous rating down until they can't catch you anymore. I mean, I know we had a couple of years where maybe it was a little bit easier, not too much easier, but God, I still feel like until you clinched it, you're nervous.
Kraus, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with Changa. What do you think?
No, I don't either. But different ball game with the late model deal being 20 shows. That's a completely different ball game. So, but Changa, like he obviously, I don't know if he played sports. He obviously didn't coach sports, but I'm just telling you right now, the minute you clinch a playoff spot in anything, you relax and you play way better. So it's no different. It's going to be no different in the racing world either, too. And I think it's really going to help TPO with the Challenge Series deal. Not forced. Hey, he wants to win that deal. That's $10,000. That's $10,000 on the line. A lot of contingency stuff. So I think he wants to take care of business there, make him relax a little bit, and then Wiota 100 is basically his home turf. If you want to go on 994 Speedway and win the late model, win the $10,000 win late model race, you're gonna have to beat TPO. That's just the way it is. So, also a little bit different ballgame for the Challenge Series because TPO's never ran that past. He's going to be there now, so he's going to be getting full shows too. So there's a lot going into this deal. But Changa was right. You can never count out Shane. He always seems to pull something out when it comes down to national title time. But it's going to be fun to watch. It's great. that Challenge Series has got the best of the best coming down the stretch here. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Wissota Street Stocks, Braden Brower set his sights last year on a national championship, came up just a couple points short at the end of the year. His goal from day one this year, win that national title. Guys, he just hit 30 feature wins, and he is literally light years ahead of everyone else. I think the next person has 19, and that's Rob Petroff. He's running second. He's a Montana car, and Rob's had a hell of a good season. The problem is car count out there absolutely killed him. He's got 0 113s and only 112. No chance that he's going to catch Braden Brower with that. That battle for second, though, is really good, right? So Braden Brower is literally in position to win the Natty. It's going to be really tough to beat him. Obviously, still a month and a half left. He's going to go have some fun, try to win some invites. But here's the deal, guys. For second place, you got Rob Petroff, and out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, Maria Bruxick has been on a tear. She's literally won 6 of her last 8. Or 6 in a row, maybe, in 7 of her last 9, I think is what it is. She's been absolutely lights out. She literally leapfrogged both Ty Agan and Colton Brower, but they are literally, looking at this, they're literally 5 points separated between 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and they're only a handful of points out of second. So keep an eye on that battle for second in the Wissota Street Stock National Standings. That's going to be a real good one as well. Now, let's jump over to another class here. We're going to keep the open wheel stuff for just a minute. Of course, Mod 4s, Billy kind of decided the Mod 4s already. So that just is what it is. TB81's out of that position. Evidently, he doesn't like Tommy Bowden. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. In the pure stock, though, so Changa, we raced against Chad Finkbone, and he, pretty good buddy of ours. We got to know Chad for quite a while, and I remember little Chaston Finkbone sitting in my car and literally steering it up into the trailer in Grand Rapids. Well, he had a big win this past week up in Greenbush. Tracked down Dustin Puffy from a straightaway, worked him down to the bottom, drove around him on the top. I guess it was just a beautiful thing. That point battle right now in the pure stock division is super, super close as well. So Dustin Puffy, driver from over in Bemidji, he's leading that deal. But here's the battle. Let me pull this up here. So Puffy's at 2146. Brent Mindock, Wisconsin driver, he's been up in Superior. He's Ashland, Rice Lake. Proctor, 2145, 1 point back. Chaston Finkbone, 2143, 3 points back. Literally 3 points separating the top 3 in the Wissota Pure Stock division. And I get it. People are like, oh, it's Pure Stocks. Well, who gives a shit, right? Pure Stocks is that's your grassroots racer. These are your up and comers. I'm a Chaston Finkbone guy. I've never met either one of these other two guys. They're having a great season, but that win by Chaston Finkbone to beat the guy leading the national points and steal some points from him going into Labor Day weekend is huge, because remember, there's not a lot of tracks out there that have Wissota Pure Stocks. So there's not a lot of races left. I think Greenbush this weekend, Bemidji's got something. They got that special at Bemidji, the Wissota special. What is it? The RPM or whatever it's called. They got that one coming up in just a couple weeks. There is not a lot of pure stock racing. That pure stock race is going to be super fun. Dustin Puffy, Brent Mindock, Chaston Finkbone, your top 3. Super stocks, let's face it. It is, I don't want to say it's over, because again, we got this Shane Sabraski guy that can win 10 in a row, right? That's what he does. But Dexton Cook has put together an outstanding season. Not quite as many wins is what he likes, right? You know, if you want to win, if you want to beat Sabraski, he typically gets 30 in a year. Remember, he hasn't raced a full season. He's probably going to run that super from here on out. Is there any chance that Dexton Cook loses this one to Sabraski, or would you say that it's about as close to over as it can possibly get in the Wissota Super Stocks?
Why don't you go ahead, Kraus? You're the super stock guy.
Got to see the numbers first. I'm sure Brian over there sent him. Give us a shakedown in Sabraski. How many shows he got? How many wins he's got?
I don't have that, because he's got like half the wins. He's got like 15 wins, 14, 15 wins, and I think you can look it up on your phone. I'm on my phone right now. I did not do the Superstock points because Dexton Cook's got such a big lead on Sabraski. I don't know if Shane even hit 30 shows yet in the
No, I
Superstock.
don't think he has.
Shane's got 14 as of right now, but how many did he win this weekend?
One.
He won two. He won
Did he?
at Granite City in the
Yep.
dark. Lights went out, and he won at Ogilvy.
Oh, yeah,
Kraus is
that's true.
shaking. Kraus, have you ever seen anything like that? Literally, Changa, I don't know if you saw it or not. The lights went out in 1 and 2 at Granite City, and they're like, fuck it, let's race anyway. And the announcer's like, yeah, they're coming into the dark zone here off of turn number 2. It's like you couldn't see nothing. And 3 and 4 of the lights were working, and then after that feature, the light come on. Have you ever seen anything like that? That was kind of interesting.
No, and did you watch the in-car camera from, was it Tommy Patton? Was Tommy Patton there?
Probably.
He had a GoPro and in-car camera. It was like pitch black when he came through too. And I'm sitting here going, first off, as a racer, but being a track promoter these days, the first thing that comes into your mind when you're doing something like this is insurance. And if something happened over there, you never know what people are going to do these days. It was a super tough deal. So I get it. People want to race. They want to race. So Sabraski hasn't hit 30 shows yet. He's getting pretty close. Here's the deal with that. Shane's going to run where the money's at. He's going to be the Challenge Series. He's got a chance to put up a whole bunch of 113-point shows here in a bit. He's really good at I-94. That's a 4 possible point shows now that you get points for the 100 finally. After all these years, we finally got that through. He's dominant at Ogilvy. He's a bunch of shows there yet. Granite's got some shows now. He's dominant there yet. It could get very, very interesting. And it seems to I think it kind of seems to me that 7A's got 78K's number a little bit over the years, and they put a little pressure on Dex. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. I don't think anybody else is there to do much. I know I put Kurt Myers on the not hot list. He knocked a win off, so I'm going to not talk about him anymore. But I don't think there's anybody else there that's going to really do it. It's be interesting to see how far Shane jumps up once he hits 30 shows and starts. Probably sure he's got some bad shows to chuck. Where he falls, we'll probably know by the 100.
Well, he'll be at the Silver on Thursday, so he won't race a Super on Thursday, but he'll race. He'll be at Grand Rapids Friday, and then Hibbing Saturday, Sunday, and then if he wins all 3 of those, for example, in the Supers, not out of the realm of the possibility he could head to Madison on Monday. So we'll have a little closer eye on the Super Stocks after this weekend. Right now, Dexton Cook in the catbird seat, but so I texted Dexton earlier, and he's like, I'm still worried about Shane. He knows that Shane can win 15 in a row. He knows. Everybody knows, right? And so he's got his eyes on the 7A. He's just got to do his thing. Don't be thinking about the points. Just do your thing. Go out, win some races this weekend, and put yourself in a good position going into the rest of the postseason. Number 2, let's head to the high-flying half mile and the neighbor track, the sister track to the west, I-94 Speedway. They had a pair of mod shows this past weekend, Coach Gross, and that brings us to number 2. Why don't you talk a little bit about what happened in the modifieds here this past weekend in western Minnesota?
Yeah, first off, it's just to kind of fill everybody in. I'm sure everybody's going, what's the fallen lineman modified special and what it's all about? And it's obviously for a great cause. So Corey Svor and DJ Kittleson. You all know, I'm sure you know DJ used to pit for John Seitz and hung out with that crew and has been around racing for a long time. And Corey Svor obviously owns a 6X car that Zach Johnson drives, the Millennial Farmer. And Corey had a brother pass away, was a lineman that passed away, obviously doing his job. Ryan, and a lot of us knew Ryan, and they said, we're going to start a fallen lineman race. So it's a really cool deal. Viking Speedway, and I don't know what I-94 does, but I know they do something. But we donate a dollar amount per adult ticket that we sell to the Fallen Lineman organization. So it's a really cool deal, and it's gained some ground. And we get all the electric companies, and we got a bunch of sponsors. DJ and Corey do a really good job of gathering sponsors for that show. And when you get Dan Ebert I text Dan Ebert and he goes, Jeff, I won't miss that show, hopefully ever again. Just what it means to a lot of people that, he shows up and, Jeremy Nelson and Dave Kane, and all of a sudden you get some of the big shots that, hey, we're going to go support this deal. So it's a cool deal that they put on. They went up to I-94 on Friday. I believe they had 34 mods, I think was the number they had up there. And, it's you put the local boys on the front row, and Dusty Bitson's really, really, really tough to beat at both I-94 and Viking Speedway. So the quality was unbelievable. I was watching the mod race at Viking Speedway on Saturday. I'm sitting here going, holy smokes. There's guys running in 12th, 13th, 14th place that they got multiple championships and feature wins at Viking and at I-94. I'm sitting here going, this is absolutely crazy. So Dusty Bitson drew the pole Friday and won, and Dusty Bitson drew the pole on Saturday and won. And Saturday was a good race. It wasn't for Dusty. Jeremy Nelson was really good on the bottom, and Brady Gertis was up top. They ran side by side for a bunch. Then Landon Atkinson came through. It's another guy that says, I'm going to support. He's won the fallen lineman race before. He was really good too. He passed some cars on the bottom. And then it kind of got up top, but Jeremy Nelson stayed on the bottom. And overall, it was a good race. I thought both nights were, well attended. And when we had 25 mods, I know there was some crashing and some other guys that didn't show up, but overall, just a really successful weekend for a really good cause for one. I think that's the main thing we get out of this deal. And then, like I said, it's turned into an annual event that everybody wants to attend.
Yeah, I mean, good racing. And let's face it, there's some good locals in that modified class at Fergus Falls and at the Viking Speedway. And some top guys came in. The local guy said, not today. Dusty Bitson, a pair of wins. Congratulations to him on taking home some good money here this past weekend. And let's go to number one. You're both hockey guys, right? Coach Kraus had, he obviously still a coach, right? And you went to a state tournament, didn't you, for Alexandria Blizzard? And of course, Changa, his kids went to a state tournament for Superior Spartans. So you both know hockey. Well, one song that maybe comes around in hockey is, I don't know, Coach, you could probably sing this. You're a big Canadian guy. Oh, Canada, right? Holy shit. This is the first time I can remember probably ever, where not one, but two Wissota divisions, the national point leader from Canada, from Thunder Bay. So Dave Simpson has been absolutely lights out this year in the 70. He went to Rapids, 1,000 to win, Midwest Mod Show Thursday. He got it done. Little bit of a gift there. Blake Adams had a tire bulminate. He probably had that 1-1. Let's face it, he did. He was coming to the white. It was over. Simpson capitalized. He parked in victory lane, 22 wins on the year, and is sitting good. He was on the not hot list here a couple weeks back. I think we should probably get credit because he was slumping a little bit, and then he's won like 5 or 6 in the last couple of weeks. So he's been absolutely on fire, doing exactly what he needs to do to lock up a national title. So Joey Jensen, Rodine, they're kind of second, third. Kid by the name of Brandon Rehill from up in Canada, he's right in the mix. But right now, he's got a nice separation between him and the rest of the field. But here's the deal. In the modifieds coming into this last week, Mike Stern's guys had a 90-point lead going into this past weekend. 90-point lead. He was literally 90 points ahead of both Buzzy Adams and Cole Chernosky, and then Shane Sobraski was at in just a little bit behind them because he wasn't quite where he needed to be on shows yet. He had a big weekend, guys. He had a big weekend. He swallowed up that whole point lead. And here's the deal. We hear a lot of people, Kraus, talking, national points where certain drivers they'll cherry pick, right? They'll be like, I'm going to go over here, dodge this guy and try to get some points, or I'm going to go this way and I'm going to dodge the competition. A couple weeks back, Buzzy's leading points. Cole Chernosky goes to Rice Lake, wins on Buzzy's home turf. This weekend, Mike Stern's leading national points. He makes a trek all the way out to Aberdeen for a doubleheader. passes him both nights and gets keeper shows both nights. He's leading the way. Right now he has 16 feature wins, which is the most in modifieds. Right now Buzzy's he's second. He's got 13 feature wins. So Chernosky has the most wins. And I was thinking in my mind, boy, I don't know if he can win come postseason time. I don't know if he can win the big money shows, but the guys that he's racing for against in points, he's beating them. So he's doing what he has to do. So, man, I got to tell you, I think David Simpson's in really good spot. Is there a chance? Can Cole Chernosky have a good postseason and seal the deal? What do you guys think?
I've got an opinion of what I think is going to happen. Oh boy, that's going to be a dogfight all the way to the end. I think, but if I were a betting man, I would say when all's said and done and the smoke clears, I think the 7A is going to chase them all down and win this thing again. They really do.
Oh, that guy again. That guy again. That guy again. You know, here's the deal. Looking at what they're chucking for shows, him and Buzzy are both sitting pretty good. Probably a little bit better than Chernosky. Chernosky's not dumping stuff that's quite as low as another two. It's going to be super interesting. Buzzy, though, he got a new car. He won a pair of races this past weekend, too, right? So he won up in Grand Rapids, and I know him and Bob Broking probably weren't, having a beer together after the races on Thursday night, but they'll both get over it because they both race hard, and that's what they do, right? Some feelings were hurt, let's just say that. Then he went to Rice Lake, and he put it to him in Rice Lake. Sobraski, money's on the line, invite time. God dang, that guy is, every conversation. I think the least likely for him to win is late models, but the modified is maybe the most likely to win. Chernosky's in good position. Never in a million years. A month ago, never in a million years would I said, yeah, Cole Chernosky is going to be leading the national points in the mod. I wouldn't have said that. There's no way. But holy shit, the culture up there, they got something to be proud of up there in Thunder Bay. They're packing the house every single night. They got massive car counts. What they got going on up there, they deserve this, and it's super cool to see them be able to cheer on a couple of their own drivers and have an opportunity to take over a couple national championships. So anything else on those two guys before we jump into a little fan feedback? Because the first fan feedback deal is going to be a question regarding these two drivers. First, go ahead, Kraus. What do you got?
Yeah, the little interesting thing about this mod thing, I want to see how Mike Stearns reacts. Because he's been the guy kind of chasing, and all of a sudden he's leading and he's being chased. And Mike and I know Mike, he's pretty uptight, and he's you know what I mean? He scunches up a little bit, there's no doubt about it. And I don't think Cole Chernosky really has a care in the world what's going on. Buzzy's driving with a complete chip on his shoulder right now. 100. He's been on the not hot list for how long, Brian? We've been tearing him apart, and he's driving like, screw you guys, I'm Buzzy Adams, I'm going to go win this thing. And he's fast at I-94 as well. And then you got Sobraski just sitting back there going, I'm just going to pick away my wins and get in the mix too. So super, super cool, interesting scenario there with that modified deal. And I'm going to take credit for all these point races because I'm pretty sure it was about 2 months ago I said everything was over with. And I think everybody got mad at me, Changa. And they said, you know what, Coach? No, it's not. We're going to bring this down to the line. We're going to have some fun, especially what could be better at the special season. And now, say what you want to say about the 113-point shows, but that's going to come into factor here, especially come special season.
And here's the deal. So you're going to see points posted, in all the dirt and on my race pass, and they're always way behind. They're going to be announcing it at the Wiota 100. They're 2 weeks back. The official points right now in the modifieds is Cole Chernosky's at 3175, Mike Stearns is at 3170, and then Buzzy's at 3132. But he's chucking an 88 and an 89, so he can gain like 40 points in 2 shows and be right in the mix with a couple wins. Shane Sobraski's at 3106. He's only 4 or 5 shows away from being in the mix. So that's where they're at right now. We'll keep everybody up to date as far as what's going on here in the national point scene. Now, let's jump into the next segment here, and that's a little fan feedback. And a little shout out to our friend out in Sydney, Montana. That's Nick Hoff, Hard Charger Performance Specialties. Nick, of course, Chonga knows Nick very well also. He built an engine for us. He built engines for Provenzino, several others. He lived up on the Iron Range up in Hibbing for a while. I got to know him very well. And he's had a lot of success. He's built engines for over 20 years. He does more than that. He does gears. He has a dyno out there. So if you need dyno time, if you're a Wiota guy and you have a crate engine, you need it fixed, he's the guy to do that. And I'm going to put a little something in the kitty here. The first 3 drivers that are new customers using promo code ONETOGOSHOw, the first 3 new customers to Hard Charger Performance Specialties that use the promo code ONETOGOSHOw in 2025 for their first 5 feature wins, we'll give them $100 a piece for their first 5 feature wins. So reach out to us on that and get a hold of Nick. His number, guys, 406-478-4437. He does a great job. He's passionate about his customers. He'll build you legal stuff. And I tell you what, you'll be super happy with it. I know I was. That's Hard Charger Performance Specialties. All right, guys. Question time. This one in regards to specifically Dave Simpson and Cole Chernosky. So this weekend, this Labor Day weekend, start of the invitational season in Wiota, there's a showdown at the Arrowhead Speedway in Oklahoma. B-Mod Bedlam. It's $30,000 to win for the B-Mods. And the pre-entry list is up. It's on Facebook. They got a website, and the list is up. And when you look at the list, Chonga, it's discouraging because a ton of the Wiota B-Mods that would be at our specials over Labor Day weekend are registered, and they're heading down there. Okay. Well, Chernosky hasn't run a Midwest mod a ton this year, but when he does, he's in the mix. He wins races. Dave Simpson having a stellar year. Both of them 2 very talented, very fast race car drivers. Both of them pre-registered for this event down in Oklahoma. So Dave Simpson's I would say nothing's over till it's over, but as far as breathing room goes, he's got a little bit more breathing room. Now, keep in mind, second in Wiota points, Joey Jensen, third, Lucas Rodin. They're also pre-registered to go down there. So fair to assume that they're probably going. Chernosky has no breathing room. None. 0. That is as tight as it gets in the mod. So you can go one at a time, however you want to do it. And we'll start with Coach. We'll go to Chonga, okay? If you're these drivers, okay, what do you think they should do? Right? I talked to Dave Simpson today. He asked me, he goes, what do you think I should do? What do you guys think? Should they go down and race a one-off show for $30,000 to win? And, let's face it, there's going to be 50 guys there that can win these races. There's a lot of talent going. They're included in that. Both of these drivers could win that race. So do they go and just one-off, I'm taking a whole weekend off with Wiota, I'm going to try to win that? Or do you look at it and be like, I'm in position to win a national championship. I raced my ass off all year. I've traveled. I've sacrificed all summer long to put myself in position to win a national title. Do you stay back and try to lock up a natty, or do you go to Oklahoma and try to win a $30,000 to win show? Coach Cross.
Well, if I'm Cole Chernosky, I'm staying around here with a mod and trying to win a national championship. If I'm David Simpson, I'm loading up. I'm going down to win $30,000. Cole Chernosky hasn't ran that Midwest mod much. He's kind of slowed down a little bit. I saw he ran it a couple weeks ago, Red Cedar somewhere, maybe Rice Lake or something. But other than that, he really hasn't ran that thing much. So I don't know. Is he going to be fast? Yeah. Is he at the top of his game in his Midwest mod? Probably not. I think he should. It's $7,500 to win the mod national championship plus your contingency stuff. Probably stay around, but David Simpson, I'd pack up and head down there. You're pretty quick right now. You're on top of your game. $30,000. I don't know what was the pre-entry money wise.
300 or 500, I believe, was one of those 2, but I'm not positive.
I personally, being a Wiota guy, I'd like to see him down there just to see how he can do. Not that I don't want to see Cole, but I think we'd rather see David down there right now to see how he can do in the Midwest mod. So that's my theory. Cole Chernosky, stay home, run around here. David Simpson, get down and win $30,000.
Changa?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with him on Chernosky. There's no way he can go down there. They can keep his $300. I mean, he's got a really good opportunity to win a national championship, and they're really, really hard to come by, right? Boy, the David Simpson thing is tough, but it's a little bit easier to make that decision. Maybe if Joey Jensen and Lucas Rodin are both going down there, I might have a GPS tracker, implanted on their haulers to make sure they're going. But if them guys are going down there, what do you got to lose? You run bad the first night, you just come back. You can go to Emo and run two, or go to Hibbing and run a couple. I mean, God, it's how many opportunities do you have to run for $30,000? And we've seen with Rodin a few times here in the last couple of years where you go run with the USRA guys and some of them shows, and the Wissota guys kind of compete favorably. So it's a tough decision, but I feel like you got to give it a chance, especially if your closest competitors are going too.
Yeah, I agree on Chernosky, and both of these drivers are highly competitive alphas, right? They feel like when they unload they have an opportunity to win, right? So they have that confidence that both of them could unload and be in the conversation. Man, oh man, I tell you what, I mean, there's a lot that goes into winning a national championship, and these guys put themselves in position. If the B-Mod Bedlam was like a crown jewel of B-Mods and it was an established deal, and I mean, it's like something that is like the World 100 of B-Mods, and it's like something that's been around for a while, I'd be like, you gotta go win that deal. But I don't know. I talked to Dave Simpson today. He's going to Oklahoma. He said he's making the trip down there. They're going to run night one. If night one goes good, they're sticking around. If night one goes bad and they have issues, some break, flat tire, whatever, they're going to turn around and head back and run Wissota stuff over the weekend. I wasn't able to get a hold of Chernosky, but that's a tough one, man. I'm telling you, there's the way I look at it, there's never been, as far as I know, a 30,000 to win B-Mod race, right? So it'd be kind of cool to win that because you're racing against some of the best in the whole country. And on the flip side of that, national championships, like you said, they're not easy to come by. And when you're in position right now to win a natty, it means something. Now, with that said, they could do both, right? Because it is only one weekend. There's still a month left of racing. They could come back and stack 4 or 5 wins. It'd be fine. But I'll just say good luck to all the drivers heading down there. Simpson, represent well. Chernosky, I'm not sure where he's going. Like Kraus said, he hasn't run the B-Mod much, but that's a tough question. That's an interesting one. Put in the comments below. What would you do, right? As a fan, would you go for 30 grand or would you try to win an Addy? Let us know in the comments on what you would do. So Pete has one here for Coach Kraus. I thought you hockey players were tough. Y'all getting soft in Alexandria? How in the world do you disqualify Scott Horn for a little bump pass down the front straightaway for a win? You guys should pay him extra for putting a show on for the crowd. Then he gets rolled over. I didn't see this part. Evidently, so kind of recap it for people that didn't see it. Hell of a finish at Viking Speedway in the street stocks. It was exciting stuff, okay? And Vogel threw a couple sliders, cleared them. No contact, cleared them, gave him plenty of room, and Scott Horn did a nice crossover both times to kind of get him back, and coming off 4 on the last lap, Vogel threw a haymaker, Horn crossed down underneath him, and he did. He got into the side of him pretty good and bounced him off the wall, I think, down the front straightaway, and they made it to the line. Horn wins, and then the camera gets off of them because it's showing victory lane, and then all of a sudden you hear the crowd, whoa, and evidently there was contact made. Sounds like Vogel got in the back of Horn, and Horn goes upside down after the race. Vogel gets disqualified for effectively rolling a guy over after the race. I didn't see it. And Horn gets disqualified for rough driving for the bank pass for the win, which I've seen Kraus do that no less than 25 times at the Viking Speedway. I mean, that's what Larry Lund told me anyway, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but that was for 6.
No, he won some races. So I think Kraus, I believe you're the winningest super stock driver, aren't you, at Viking? So I don't know, man. That's a good question, Pete. All right. How does Horn get disqualified. I don't know. Krause, I want your response. I saw it. I personally didn't think that warranted a disqualification for the bank pass on the front straightaway, even though it was aggressive. It is what it is. But your thoughts? What went into that call? I mean, I know you were racing. You're not the flag man. You don't make the call or whatever. But what went into that decision? What's your thoughts?
Well, it's at the end of the day, that's why I hire people to make them decisions, and I'm going to stick behind my flagman and my corner guys. They had a great conversation, and they made the call right away on the 24. That came across the radio right away, and then I saw the Vogel slide job, and I was just walking down towards Victory Lane. And I wanted to see the finish line because I knew it was going to be a doozy. I did not see any of the contact there. And then I looked, and then all of a sudden I heard the crowd go absolutely crazy. And I looked over, and the 24 was rolling over there. I guess there was some contact down there, little post-race activity. So at the end of the day, the flagman made the decision, the corner guys, and it was discussed. I mean, it was boy, a good 5, 7, 8 minutes after all said and done. They had a really good discussion on the radio. I had the radio in my hands. I was listening to them. Did not say a word. I just sat back and listened. And they decided to make the decision for the DQ, both of them. Basically, what they said is no different than if he spun them out coming for the checkered. And someone has to cause the caution, and they basically got called for it. So super tough deal. It really is. We're human. They're human. Everybody makes calls. Was it exciting? Yes. Was it a super tough decision to make? Yes, it was. I'll tell you that right now. It was super tough. And like I said, both of them talked to me. Both of them talked to our flagman. And at the end of the day, we made the decision. We kept it at the track level. We're not taking it any further than that. That's just the way we do things at Viking Speedway. We're going to handle things amongst ourselves. And it really was. It was a super tough deal. It was sad to see something that exciting because it was a heck of a race. I mean, it was a really good race too. So at the end of the day, it's judgment calls, no different than roughing the passer in the NFL or hooking in hockey.
So
or
it was
Chonga.
Bullshit then, like the roughing the bullshit.
Chonga's more of a
WFT soft.
Chonga's more of a grounded your club in the sand kind of deal. You can't ground your club in the sand trap. Even Ryan don't know rules in the golf. He's walking in my line all the time when I'm putting, and I birdie, and he's teeing off first and all that good stuff. So yeah, no, it was a super tough deal, and it sucks all the way around. But like I said, at the end of the day, you got guys that you hire to do and make your call, and going to stand behind them. And hey, it is what it is. But like I said, super tough deal. Glad it was an awesome race, but also at the end of the day, it's tough to end it that way. And you don't want to DQ anybody. You really don't, Ryan. You know that. And but like I said, it's calls were made, and that's the way it is.
Say,
Chonga,
Coach,
soft, or what do you think?
Oh, well, I got a question here. So, Coach, if I'm understanding this right, was Vogel going to win that race due to the rough driving DNF if he just doesn't dump the guy after the race?
Was he going to what?
Well, so you said they made the call on the winner, right? He put Vogel into the wall a couple times there. If Vogel doesn't dump him after the race, was Vogel going to get the win and the other guy was going to get disqualified?
That all I know, I would assume. But like I said, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't the conversation until it was all done.
Okay.
I didn't have a radio on during the deal. Like I said, I was just up in Victory Lane helping out and doing some things. And I was up in Tech actually with the Midwest Mods. And I always go up there and thank all the guys for coming and, make sure things are going on in Tech, just overseeing everything. So that I have no idea. I would assume that would have been the call, but who knows?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, exciting race for sure. Anyhow, I mean, and my goodness, a little right side romance, few sparks off the wall, made it a heck of a exciting race. And your fans got their money's worth anyhow.
Yeah, Vogel didn't make any contact prior to the end. I mean, so I would assume that he would have got the win because, he didn't make any contact until after, and I didn't see that. I was hoping to see the video, but I did not see that. I would say you just hit them two, make them both start 12th this week side by side, and throw a little money on the line to see who comes out the victor this weekend. So I'm assuming, I guess I don't know if Vogel's going to go or not, but I would assume both of them will be at Viking this weekend for the doubleheader, right?
Oh yeah, I would assume so. Obviously, I don't know how bad Scott Horn's car was. I didn't get a chance to look at it. I know my tech guy was over there because they always, after every rollover, they go and inspect roll cages and all that stuff. Great, what Gene does and my tech guys. They always want to go see, hey, what held up during rollovers, doing their job. And like I said, I don't know how bad his car was. I obviously know Justin had some damage too, but he's, like I said, Vogel usually, I think, sweeps Labor Day weekend, so I would assume he'll be back at Viking.
Yeah, probably. So Labor Day weekend coming up. That's always the beginning to the postseason, and I had Dan reach out and say, man, oh man, I mean, like more and more tracks keep adding shows and adding shows. Emo's got a doubleheader, and now Menominee is running a Friday night show, and Rice Lake's running a Saturday, Sunday for good pay. I mean, this weekend, guys, you got Brainerd's got a doubleheader, Hibbing's got a doubleheader, Viking does, Emo, Aberdeen, Devils Lake, right? They moved the fall jamboree. Rice Lake does. They moved the fall jamboree at Deer Creek to this weekend. You got the BMOD Bedlam going on. Greenbush got a doubleheader. I mean, it's like everybody and their brother. So his question is, you guys remember the postseason from late 90s, early 2000s, big car counts, massive crowds, everybody up till the sun comes up. And I mean, literally, just the aura of the postseason was unbelievable. Is Labor Day weekend losing the postseason vibe with so many specials and what I'm going to only assume is going to be a pretty light car count all across the board? What do you guys think?
Well, I'd love to go first on this one if I could.
Mm-hmm.
I miss the days of the Hibbing Raceway Labor Day shootout when you got 100 plus mods, 100 plus supers, 60 late models, and it was just all the best of the best were there, and it was unbelievable. And now, I mean, I don't know, it's hardly an invite. I mean, from what it was in the 90s to now, I mean, it's just a regular night essentially.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have the Challenge Series, which is going to bring in the top tier drivers in the Wissota late models. But yeah, all the other classes, I mean, you're going to get a few extra cars, I mean, they typically been getting about 10 of everything on a given night. And I would have to say they'll probably double that. But I would be shocked if we saw a B main for anything other than maybe late models and Midwest mods. And I mean, back in the day, there was 3 B mains, right, for all these classes. And Vikings kind of always had a double header. Carl's Vikings never really had like a big paying Labor Day weekend. It's always been a little bit more, right? But not like a massive deal. I mean, you got some extra guys, but I don't know. Have you guys ever had like the big numbers where you're getting 50, 60, 70 in a class? Has that really been a thing at Viking or no?
No, it was, we've ran the fallen lineman a couple of times during this deal. Well, one was a rain out. We had to move it. But we tried it one year, just didn't really work out. And then I remember back in the day, it was always an NLRA doubleheader at Viking. So you would get 30 to 35, but that was, back when, Jeff Wilding and Ricky Weiss and Zach Johnson and Shaw, all those guys were regular. And then you'd pick up the NLRA guys. So it was always, you'd have 30 to 35 late models every single night, which was just fine for us. But it was never really a huge car count. We're going to probably have, I looked last year, I think we had between 90 and 100 both nights for 5 classes, which we're just fine with. We are elevating the purse a little bit, obviously, just to kind of support our locals. And that's the thing with us. We got a lot of locals in this area, but our area is way different, Ryan, because, Ogilvy's not running, Granite City's not running. Yeah, Brainerd's running, but there's no one else. Casino's running Sunday, but there's no one else really running around here. Now, all of a sudden, you got Rice Lake and all them guys are going to obviously be fighting over cars, and Hibbing's Hibbing. They're going to get their guys. Not a lot of those guys are going to come down this way anyway. So, yeah, it kind of went to where there used to it went to down. I think last year there was only about 4 shows on Labor Day. It got for a couple of years where no one was racing this weekend. I think it was just kind of a good time to take off. A lot of tracks had their fall special anyway, so hey, let's just take off here. We've always ran. We've been running. Oh boy, it's been a lot of years. We've ran Saturday, Sunday on Labor Day. It used to be point night for so many years too. We finally got rid of that. So yeah, interesting scenario, but it's not going to happen this day and age with travel, the budget, with the economy, the way everything's are. Getting all of them cars, it's going to be super, super tough, I think, this time of year for sure. And then especially, with the 100 coming up, and we all know the cost to run their 100. I just had a board member ask me tonight, "You're going to have your car at the 100?" I'm like, well, no, I got a hockey game now Saturday night. I don't know who did my damn schedule. I got a hockey game Saturday night of the 100. So that's not, car ain't going to be there, but we all know how much it costs to run that show, Ryan. And a lot of people save their stuff to run that deal. So yeah, it's interesting dynamic this day and age with fall specials.
And it's kind of one of those deals where I was talking to somebody, not arguing, we were just kind of having a good chat on Facebook, and they're like, well, why do certain tracks feel like they're entitled, right, to have like Labor Day's my weekend? And it's like, I get what he's saying, right? I do. But the fact of the matter is, if everybody has a special on the same weekend, it's not a special. It's a regular night with a little bit more. That's essentially what it is. And I don't know. I'm super grateful that I got to experience what the postseason was really like through the 90s and early 2000s with, just massive amounts of people. I saw pictures of some of these specials of the grandstands, and it was like, holy shit, that was cool stuff. And those days are gone, and it's sad. I wish some of these young drivers would have had a chance to experience it, because when you won with 100 cars there, that was a big freaking deal. That was, and now people are like, oh man, I won the Labor Day shootout 4 times, and nothing against you, but sorry, it's not the same, right? When you're winning like a 24 car Labor Day shootout field compared to 80, I'm sorry, it's not the same. But, I guess it is what it is, and that's the world we live in today. And I don't know if we're ever going to get that back. So that's a good question there. So I had one come out. I guess I probably shouldn't mention the track on this, but Coach Kraus, you're a driver and you're a promoter. So there's a track here last week, I think it was this past weekend, that had a fan appreciation night. Okay. On fan appreciation night, they literally charged $5 more per fan to get in the grandstands. Is that backwards to you, perhaps? I'm saying.
Well, you think fan appreciation night. We don't really call we do the Napa free night every year. And technically we don't call it a fan appreciation. It's just basically fans are free kind of deal. But you promote a fan appreciation night and you show up and you're a little bit more to get in. Fans are going to be like, what's going on here? Wait, you draw more fans, but then you're going to charge us more. So it could be a little false advertising too. So tough deal. But like I said, I don't know what consists of a fan appreciation night. You know what I mean? It's such a broad, when you say fan appreciation night, well, who are you appreciating? You would think you'd appreciate the fans and let them in free or give them a discount. So, kind of a weird deal. You got to watch your wording and what you're doing there. And because at the end of the day, you could end up pissing more people off than you are actually appreciating.
That was a comment that I had. And I'm like, yeah, they wanted me to just bombard the track. And I'm like, well, it sounded like they had a couple giveaways up there. They, some shirts and, some different things or whatever. But yeah, probably a fan appreciation night charging more to get in is a little bit questionable on my thoughts, I guess. But Changa, any thoughts on that before we jump into rapid fire?
Well, like you said, you got a bunch of giveaways and fun things for the families. You give them a hot dog, a pop, and an ice cream cone, then all right, fine. But I'm guessing that's probably not what the case was.
Yeah, probably not. All right, let's jump into some rapid fire shout outs, a little who's hot, who's not, brought to you by our friends over at Daytona One Performance Lubricants. So as you know, Wiota and Hoosier are married for 5 more years. Okay. And in case you didn't watch the internet here this past weekend, there's a bad batch of tires and they are balminating and falling apart. And there was all kinds of them this past weekend. And it just is what it is. So they are still building an inferior product for a inflated price. And we have no idea what the price is going to be. But if you do happen to find a tire that's holding together and you want to run it a little longer, maybe an option, right, is to throw some Daytona 1, some different tire treatment stuff on there that you can maybe get a few more nights out of your tire. Now, to be honest with you, some of that stuff Wiota still doesn't like. They're not necessarily a fan because we all know it works, but it works, and Hoosier sells less tires, so it's not in their best interest to want a product like this because it doesn't help their pocketbook. Just is what it is. This will help your pocketbook if you're a weekend warrior and you're like, shit, I'm mid-pack. I'm probably not going to make the tech shed anyway. I'm having fun. If I can get a couple top fives, that's great. Why not take a chance? I'm not going to pay $150 or more per tire to get fifth and come out up behind it every single night. They have some great products here. They got a lot more products. Give Chad a call, 507-828-3536. If you're a driver out there that's, you're that mid-pack guy, you're not in the tech shed all the time, you're low budget, and you're like, I got to figure out a way to kind of run tires longer. This is the answer. Get educated. Find out if it's a good fit for you. All right. Let's see. Let's start with Coach Kraus. Let's start with any shout outs that you have from this past weekend that we haven't touched on yet. And then who made your hot and who made your not list? Go ahead.
Well, Chonga's not hot just because you're not hot, Chonga. I'm just going to call it how it is.
What?
You
just
literally told me he's the sexiest bitch you've ever seen. So I think now you're lying to the audience.
Wow.
Bragging about his pick'ems and whining and complaining and blah, blah, blah. So
I'm the new Rain
shout
Man,
out
just for the record.
Got to give a shout out. Rosh on his first track championship at Viking Speedway in the Superstocks. Did a great job, Bailey. Proud of you. Obviously, someone I've known his whole life. So that was a pretty cool moment, not only for for them. I still think they're partying there, Ryan. Blair and I left about 1:30, and they were still getting after it. So they were, how it gets at Viking Speedway. We're still one of those tracks that like to hoop it up and stay all night and have some fun. So congrats to him. Also, Davey Crookton, Davey a little bit. Got the win there after the DQ and a track championship. So good for him. They're great people. Davey's a great guy and comes a lot of my hockey games. So super proud of him. And Ryan, I know you know their dad a little bit too. Good guy. So, proud of him and racing and did an awesome job. So good to see him get one too. And then got to get thanks to David Simpson. He actually showed up to Viking Speedway, came over this way a little bit. And he came to get his check, and I was in my office, and I've never met the guy. I know he's a big fan of the show and listens to our podcast and stuff like that. So thanks, David, introducing himself, and had a nice little chat with him for 10 minutes. So I know I give you Canadians a hard time, and just because I don't like losing to you with USA versus Canada. But thanks for coming to Viking Speedway, and appreciate you introducing yourself and getting a chance to meet you. I thought that was pretty cool. So hot list, you have to go Carson Macedo. You just have to. Anybody that mops up 3 out of 4 in a weekend against that competition. We already touched base and talked about him a little bit. It's good to see him. Still got to stick with Braden Brower, Ryan. He's got pressure on him, and he's taking it like a champ. Young kid, keeps winning. I think, like I said, you got to. I really think he's got to win that 100. You don't have to. I think it'd be a little bit of a feather in his cap too if he can get that 100 done and that national title. So keep up the good work, Braden. The not hot list, I got to go with Logan Schuchart. Dude, he wins one race a year at Eldora, and he wins the biggest race of the year. He wins that thing, won it twice there. And other than that, almost like not even in the picture sometimes at some of these races. You'd think he'd be creeping around, but really hasn't done much. Like I said, we're always looking for that next guy to step up to mess with Gravel and Macedo and Shots and those guys, and you think it'd be him. It just hasn't. So I don't have anybody locally right now. I couldn't really think of much. I kind of look at top 5 guys in national points, but a lot of them have been pretty consistent and picking off some wins. And I'm not going to pick on anybody quite yet locally on the not hot list. I'm sure Chimichanga over there's got something he'll pick on, but we cracked the top 5, Ryan, and I won a heat race. So I can't put myself on the not hot list.
That's okay. We'll do it for you. All right, Changa, any shout outs that you have? Anything that you want to touch on, and then you're hot and not hot.
Well, a couple of them. I wanted to give a shout out to Tristan LaBarge. Last 2 weeks, last a second, almost beat Sabraski there to salvage a chance to win a championship, and then finishing it off with a feature win and winning the Hibbing Track Championship. Heck of a job. Proud of Tristan on that deal. Wanted to give another shout out to Jody Belfi. Pretty cool deal this week. He's started that fundraiser for Daryl Nelson, and we all know Daryl. He's not the type to ever ask for any help. And thank you, Jody, and God Almighty, God bless you, Daryl. I hope we can help you just a little bit. As far as the hot list,
yeah, for sure.
As far as the hot list goes, I mean, how can we not put Corey Day on, right? in the sprint cars. I mean, I got a whole pile of them here. I mean, we could go on and on. I mean, Bobby Pierce stays hot with 2 wins in a second. How about our boy Snowdrift? He just keeps dominating that tri-state deal. TPO, a couple of wins in the late model, a second in the mod. Pierce didn't even want to put Bitson on the hot list. Ryan Aho in the Pick'em contest. How about that? He's making a late charge here.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming. Don't shake your head, Kraus. You know what's going to happen here. You know what's up. How about not hot? Who do you got not hot?
Well, I'm going to put some people on the hot list or on the not hot list, hoping to make them hot. So a few of our locals, Kevin Burdick, like to see him, turn his season around and get a couple of good finishes at invite time. Kyle Peterlin, Daryl Nelson in the late model. He's been good in the mod lately, won a couple races, but I want to see Daryl get back up front in the late model. And then, in Lucas Oil, Mike Marler's been non-visible at all. He's just nowhere to be found. And then in the sprint cars, the two best guys, Gravel and Sweet, they're just non-factors for the last month, essentially.
Boy, Marlar's a good one. He's been so bad that I even forgot he existed. He's been terrible. Yeah, for sure. And he was dang good. He crept up inside the top 4 there in points and was looking really good, kind of just before the midway part of the season, and he's fell apart completely. So, yeah, you're spot on. Anything else before I jump into mine?
No, I think that's all I got for you.
So you mentioned Tristan LaBarge. It's my boy. Of course, spent many nights in the 71A shop. He had his car over there, and good to see him win that track championship. Did you happen to see, Changa, who won the Hornet A-Main in Hibbing Saturday night?
I do believe it was his daughter.
It was Addison LaBarge. So Addie got her first feature win by default. And we're going to touch on this when we get to the not hot list. We'll talk a little bit about that, but congratulations to her on her first win. And then, do you know who Jada Lohr is? You probably do not, right?
No, I follow it a little bit, so I know the name.
All right. So of course we all know Doug Koski. Doug's married to Vicky Erickson, which is Johnny's sister. Kelly is Whitney's friend. That's Kelly's daughter. Okay. So I've known the family forever and ever. She actually won the track championship up there at the Hibbing Raceway in the Hornet. So I want to give her a congratulations. Super cool to see her. She's been racing for a long time. She ran them little snowmobiles and all that, and she won a bunch in that. But congratulations to her on the track championship up in Hibbing. Sabraski, I mean, another trifecta. I mean, let's face it, I thought he looked pretty rough the first couple of nights, but he turned it around and he's going to be a force. If the track's smooth and dry come invite time, you can't count out that 7A. Pat Door's had a forgettable season for the Double One Express, but But he was tied going into the final night of the KME Points Series. Joe Staria, Pat Capella put together a beautiful point fund at the Gondikla Speedway, 7,500 to win. Johnny Broking and Pat Dorr were tied going into that deal, plus they had the track points as well. Pat Dorr wins the feature, wins the 7,500, wins the track championship. Is Pat Dorr, and he got a top 5 at Cedar, is he starting to maybe find a little bit of something getting into the postseason? He's, I think, either the winningest or second winningest driver of the Labor Day Shootout. Is he in the conversation? Keep an eye on Pat Dorr when the money's on the line. Maybe he's been playing all year long. Maybe he found a little something. Keep an eye on Pat Dorr. Congrats on having a little bit of something to be excited about here in 2024. Maria Brooksick. Actually, I'll save her for a hot list. Then I guess that's it as far as shoutouts, but I'm going to jump over to the hot list. I'm going to go Maria Brooksick right there. 6 in a row, 8 of her last 9. Unbelievable. I asked her, I said, have you ever won 6 in a row? She's like, I've never won 3 in a weekend before. She did that back-to-back weeks. So that is absolutely impressive. She's surging. She's into the top 3, has a legitimate shot to sneak into second here this weekend in the national title race. Braden Brower's way out front, but Maria Brooksick has been really, really good as of late. Jordan Hinkemeyer. Jordo's won 5 of his last 7. And, rumor has it he said he's going to go to Viking Speedway and go beat up on the 29 star again, and probably the 28 star. Probably doesn't want to beat up on him. Sounds like they have a little lovers quarrel going on. I'm not really sure, but Jordan Hinkemeyer's been pretty darn good, and it's going to be fun to watch the track champ against a guy that's been really good all season long, going head to head. Krause, you might have to maybe part ways in the tech shed between those two. I'm not really sure, but Jordan Hinkemeyer on the hot list. Cole Chernosky, I mean, literally coming out of nowhere, right? I mean, that kid's won a pile of races, but to literally come out of nowhere as a rookie in the modified division and snag the point lead, and not only snag the point lead, but go race against the drivers he's competing with, beat them, and take the point lead. Cole Chernosky definitely on the hot list. Of course, Squirrel, 3 wins, a second and a third in his last 5 races. Switching to that Longhorn, he's kind of turned his season around. That's the hot list. The not hot list, Brad Sweet. Without question, Brad Sweet. 31 race winless streak. 31 race winless streak. His last win, guys, May 16th up in Dundee, New York. He hasn't won since mid-May. What is he doing? Like, I don't get it. I mean, he has these slumps. Even when he was winning the World of Outlaw titles, he has these massively long slumps where he just can't get into victory lane. And then the not hot list, I mean, I will put the one to go show cars on there, the 29 star, the 83 cars. We got to get some wins. We got to get some wins, right? That's how that works. Krause, you got 2 chances this weekend. That's your house. Viking Speedway, winningest driver. Get your ass to victory lane. Don't let Bailey and Jordo and all them. Dave Dulciak, Brian Dulciak. Brian's been super fast, but you can't have your car fall apart. Dave, get that thing to turn. We got to get you guys winning races. But tech officials, I mean, what are we doing, right? Literally ruining somebody's season. I mean, Tommy Bowden, we already talked about that. We don't need to beat that. But then inhibiting, right? And I was happy to see Addison Labarge get her first win, and Tristan's like, yeah, it was kind of weird, because she got it by default. Get up there by the name of Brady Fosso wins the feature, right? Now, about 2 months ago, pretty early in the season, they put a press release out that you have to have power steering on the Hornet. You can't remove the power steering units from the Hornet. And I asked some tech officials, I'm like, why? And they're like, well, the reason why is the aftermarket cams, right? They don't have the hookup, and they're finding that some of the people that don't have the power steering on there were running aftermarket cams, and that was a way of catching them, and they were cheating. So they had to have it on there. Well, this kid goes on to win the feature, right? Wins the feature, wins the race. The tech guy reaches in and turns the wheel. He's like, well, your power steering ain't working. You're disqualified. Everything was there. It just didn't work. how is it? I mean, how is this good for racing?
Wow.
This kid's first win ever, right? Teenage kid, and it's like the rule update said the stuff has to be there. It didn't say your power steering has to work, right? Another unwritten rule. That'd be like the super stocks, right? Well, your power steering don't work there, Kraus. We're disqualifying you. What are you talking about? Back in the day, the starter classes, a lot of times you didn't even run power steering, right? You literally took it off, and like on the old Impalas, you literally just ran the line from side to side on the steering box. Who gives a shit? Why are we fucking with people all the time? Why? Right? And it's the Hibbing tech guy. It's the idiot that is called the frickin' Wiota head attacking that's also from Hibbing. It's like, what's the fucking deal here? These frickin' people are absolutely clueless. This is complete bullshit. Now, I want your guys' honest opinion on this. Isn't the purpose of teching and rules to create an even playing field so that way people aren't having a complete unfair advantage and cheating and going out there and just having a big advantage? It's just to even the playing field and put everybody on the same page. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So why the hell are we DQing people because their power steering doesn't work? What is there to gain? Are they literally trying, right? Are these tech officials literally trying to just discourage people from racing altogether and say, you know what, I worked all week long on this thing to go race. I worked all year long to win a championship, and they're just going to start DQing us for stupid ass shit that doesn't matter. And I'll just go find a different hobby. Maybe I'll do enduros or demo derby, or maybe I'll just go ATVing or fishing or play golf or whatever. I don't need this freaking bullshit, right? Fergus Falls, they had a guy, his belt fell off the power steering. It was laying there. Literally, the belt fell off on his power steering. The belt was there, and they DQ'd him because his power steering doesn't work. They should have taken the belt, wrapped it around the tech guy's throat, and then just kept pulling until his face was blue, is probably what they should do, right? It's super discouraging. It really is. And you talk to these freaking tech officials and the Wiota board, nobody's got the drivers back, right? And you wonder why people are like, screw Wiota, screw this, because let's just face it, they don't give two shits about the driver. They don't care, right? Nobody can convince me that they care. If they did, this shit wouldn't happen. It's got to stop. It has to stop. That is my biggest not hot list deal right there. So let's jump into the 2024 weekly pick'ems, brought to you by our friend Brad Parson Soil and Egg Solutions. So if you're a farmer, Western Minnesota, North South Dakota, and you're looking, I want to be more profitable, I want higher yields, well, you got to have the right stuff in your spray packages. He's got big results. I know people that are using his products, and they've raved about it, super happy with the results they're getting. Give Brad a call. His number, 320-219-3542, and get information on the stuff that he has and see if it can help you have a better growing season in 2025. Thank you, Brad Parson. And he's also kicked in money along with Impact Health Sharing, along with Worker Bee Kent, to the winner of our Pick'em segment at the end of the year is going to get to choose a car or maybe multiple cars that they're going to donate some sponsor money to. Now, if you're a business, if you're somebody that's like, hey, I'll kick in 100, I'll kick in 50, I'll kick in 500, that money's going directly to a driver. We're giving that directly back. Let us know, and then we'd be glad to give you a shout out. We're just trying to help some racers and pay it forward. So last week's movers and shakers, every single one of us had at least 16. All of us. So we all had a pretty good week. So not a lot of variance. 24 was a high, 16 was a low. I had the high, Changa and Beefcake. Beefcake, let's face it, has been terrible. And he had the second most this week. So tip of the cap there, Beefcake. Curtis had plus 19. Dano, Burt, Coach plus 18. Uper plus 17. Man Bun Dan, Bromance, and Worker Bee all at plus 16. Coach, there's a new sheriff in town, and I was apprehensive about having him on the show because I figured we'd literally have to listen to it the whole frickin' show. Changa, the new point leader. It may only last a week. It may already be done by the end of the night tonight. I don't know. Right? Coach, What's going on? Are they got heats in features? Where are they at? I know you're kind of keeping an eye on it. What's going on?
We got heat races right now at the high limits at Douglas County Speedway.
Okay, so they're still in heat, so we get done, we'll be able to watch the features. So I know that Changa and I have somebody different, so I have a chance to kind of close the gap. Maybe Curtis does too. Changa at 306, Curtis at 304, the 71A at 294 at 12 back, Dano at 260, Bert at 259, Worker B 251, Uper 240, MBD Man Bundan 235, Coach at 231, Bromance 205, and Beefcake at 194. So we're picking a shit ton of races this week, and let's just face it, we'll talk about a couple, and we're gonna put a spreadsheet out. We'll just throw that up once we get that done on the Facebook page instead of going over. We literally have 88 points available, meaning we're picking 44 races, and that would be another hour. So we're not going to mention all of our picks, but we're going to pick the high limits. There's 5 races this weekend for the high limit sprint cars. The Fall Jamboree going on at Deer Creek Speedway. So there's 4 USMTS mod races because Sunday they go to Mason City. B-Mod Bedlam, 30 grand to win at Arrowhead Speedway. World of Outlaw Sprints, they're racing. They got that race that got rained out and everything flooded. That's got rescheduled for this weekend, which is interesting because all the high limit guys were there. Now they're out west because it's 100 grand to win at Skagit. It's 100 grand to win Friday at Huset's for the World of Outlaw Sprints. Prelims Saturday, 250 to win on Sunday. So you're not going to see the high limits in the World of Outlaw guy, but there's a lot of money on the line for the 410s. And then we get into Labor Day weekend in the Wiota country. Some of the races we're picking include the 52nd annual Silver 1000. Do you guys happen to have your picks for the Silver 1000? Do you know who you're going to pick? Both of you guys?
Yes.
All right. So I know who I'm going to pick because we're not going to touch on all of them. We'll put that on the spreadsheet. Silver 1000. Who do you guys have for the mods? Who do you have for the lates? Coach, what do you got?
I got Buzzy Adams in the mods.
Okay.
And Kyle Peterlin in the late model.
All right. A couple buddies of mine. Like to see both of them have a good weekend. Changa, who do you have at the silver?
I took Jody Belfi in the mods, and I took the 1 TPO /33, whatever he's going to be.
The 33 TPO, yeah, whatever Tyler Peterson is. So incidentally, our boy Crash started this, right, 52 years ago. Crash Carlson and a couple buddies of his. And this is, I think it's the longest or second longest running late model special that's been held at the same racetrack. So 52nd annual up at the Proctor Speedway, Thursday night. I have Brandon Kopp in the modifieds. Johnny Broking said, you should pick my dad. He's 1-for-1 there. And maybe I should have, because he did win. He won the XR Northern Storm race, but I got Brandon. And in the late models, I'm taking Ashley Anderson. He's been really good in that 81, so I'm taking the 81 ride. 30th annual Wiota Classic Friday night at the Grand Rapids Speedway, Grand Rapids, Minnesota. We are picking the late models, modified super stocks, and the Midwest mods. Do you have your picks for that one, for the Grand Rapids Speedway?
Yes.
All right, Coach, what do you got for, just go ahead, late models, mods, supers, Midwest mods, Grand Rapids Speedway Friday night, 30th annual Wiota Classic?
Kyle Peterlin, Bob Broking, Dexton Cook, Mikey Blevins.
Okay. Changa.
I've got Johnny Broking, Shane Sabraski, and Mervyn Castle.
I got Johnny Broking, Shane Sabraski, and Sam Blevins to get it done in the Midwest mods. That kid's been pretty sporty. Keep an eye on him come invite season. Mars Late Model Series, we're going to pick that as well. There's 3 races. We'll put our picks up on the spreadsheet. Farmer City Friday, # Falls Saturday, Spoon River on Sunday. And then what we call home, my home track, 46th annual Labor Day Shootout, Hibbing Raceway, Hibbing, Minnesota. Saturday and Sunday doubleheader. Of course, all these Wiota races on Dirt Race Central. And 2 nights of lates, 2 nights of mods, 2 nights of supers, 2 nights of Midwest mods. Coach, give us your Labor Day Shootout picks.
Burdick, Saturday, Johnny Broking Sunday. Dave Kane Saturday, Shane Sabraski Sunday. Dexton Cook Saturday, Kurt Myers Sunday. Sam Blevins Saturday, Mikey Blevins on Sunday.
Solid picks, Changa.
I'm gonna go the 7A times 6, 2, 2, and 2, and then I'm gonna go Sam Blevins times 2.
We are very, very, very close there. In the late models, I did take Johnny Broking night number 1. And then I have Sabraski night 2. I have him both nights in the mods, both nights in the super, and I have Sam Blevins in the Midwest mods both nights as well. Big Buck Nationals, Aberdeen. We're going to pick the Tri-State.
We didn't even talk about the Mars. You said we were doing the Mars. But...
Yeah, we're just going to touch on those. So we'd be here all night if we mentioned them all. So we'll put the spreadsheet out. We'll talk about some of the Wiota shows and who we're picking, but so we're doing so this is interesting. Big Buck Nationals, Aberdeen. So they have that's in Aberdeen, South Dakota, Brown County Speedway. They're running Tri-State late models on their doubleheader instead of Wiota late models. That's interesting. Okay, so I have Snowdrift and Becker respectively. Coach Changa, who do you guys have?
I got Scott Ward both nights.
Okay, Wild Child, Changa.
I have Becker both nights.
Now, here's the question I have for you guys. So Chad Becker's been a perennial national championship contender in Wiota. With Huron, Miller, Aberdeen, and all these tracks starting to schedule more and more tri-state races, could you possibly see them putting more of a focus? Could you see Chad Becker in 2025 deciding, I'm just going to go ahead and follow this tri-state deal? Could you see that happening?
100%.
I tell you what, I've heard a lot of good things.
He's pretty much been there, done that, everything with Wiota for the most part. So why not?
Absolutely. And Mike Gross, a good guy. The drivers speak very highly of him. So unfortunate. We're all Wiota. Wiota's been our bread and butter forever. And interesting, right? I mean, former, of course, Terry Volz was former president, former executive director. They had the Western 100 there. Huron had the Wiota 100, and now they're putting more of an emphasis on the tri-state stuff. So the writing's on the wall. Us podcasters, we're the troublemakers, but these tracks are all switching, and it's not because of anything we're saying. I can promise you that. Then we're picking the Lucas Oil Dirt Late Models. They got a doubleheader. Not doubleheader. They're Saturday at Portsmouth, and then they got the 56th annual Hillbilly 100 at Tyler County. We're going to pick those races. I have Moran and Jonathan Davenport. Who do you guys have?
I got RTJ both nights.
I have Moran and RTJ.
Moran and RTJ. So I got Moran and JD. All right. Then we got a neat one here coming up. So this is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we don't have the picks because we're waiting for the split field. But the XR Events is putting on what's called the Stock Car Rampage, 300 Raceway, Farley, Iowa. 100,047 to win for the Universal Stock Cars, IMCA, USRA, several Wiota cars going to be down there. That's going to be fun to watch. It looks like RTJ is going to be in the house at that deal. So he's actually going to run, and then he's going to head south to go run the Lucas Oil stuff. And then Friday and Saturday, the XR Super Series late models join the party for the Yankee Dirt Track Classic. And I got Bobby Pierce both nights. Who do you guys got?
Bobby Pierce.
Changa?
I have the Smooth Operator both nights.
The Smooth Operator. Then we're going to go to Coach's stomping grounds. Viking Speedway, the high flying half mile, Alexandria, Minnesota. We're going to pick, no disrespect to the other classes, but we're going to pick the mods and the super stocks Saturday and Sunday at the Viking Speedway. Coach Kraus, put you on the spot. Your home turf. Who are you picking?
We're going... got to stay with the hot guy, going Dusty Bits on Saturday, but I'm going Brady Gertis on Sunday. Didn't realize Brady's in the same boat as me. I don't think he's got a win at Viking Speedway yet. He's got a bunch of wins up at, I was looking at that today, Brady. Could be wrong, but unless I can't read, but that's what I went with. And I'm going with my boy Bailey Rosh both nights, Saturday and Sunday in Supers.
Not even picking himself. Nothing like massive confidence. All right. Coach, Coach, I don't know what to say about that. Changa, who do you got at Viking Speedway?
Well, I'm going with the hot hand and Dusty Bits in both days. And I'm going to go with Trevor Sauer day one. And well, you're telling me Jordo's going to be there, so I guess I'm going to take him day two.
So I'm taking Brady Gertis day one, Dusty Bitson day two, and I'm going to take Jordan Hinkemeyer both days up there in the super stock. So Bailey, we love you. You're the one to go show 28, not the one to go show 29. Is he 28 star? Does he have a star on there too?
Oh yeah, he's 28 star.
28 star. I want to go show 28 star. But that should be a good battle. Those two not playing nice. And then the last one we're going to pick, we'll put our picks on the spreadsheet. The Baltus Classic at Eldora leading into the World 100 week. That's going to be on Monday over there for the late models. So, guys, let's jump into 3 bold predictions. Coach, brought to you by
ElevateVisual.com video productions. Make sure if you need any drone work done, you need a commercial made for your business, any sort of video production, go to elevate-visual.com. Get a hold of Brandon. He also does a Facebook page. Don't know if you guys saw, we had our drone live up and running at Viking Speedway. I don't know, did you see some of the drone video deal? So my assistant coach runs that drone, and that's all ran by elevate-visual.com. So thanks to Brandon for all the work he does. And we will say that hopefully we don't post the drone crashing into the tree like it did on Saturday. We won't say what happened there, but the drone did hit a tree. But Elevate-Visual got it back up and running. So get a hold of Brandon if you need any video production done.
Nice. All right, so off the board, we'll start with that. We had a handful of things here. So Bert had a few come off the board. The first one he had come off the board, he said Chris Simpson would have a better average finish than his brother Chad Simpson at the Lucas Oil NLRA races. Well, night number 2 rained out. Night number 1, though, Chad got 3rd, Chris got 8th. So he got that incorrect. Mars late models, they had a doubleheader this weekend, and he said there would be 6 different podium finishers. Night number, well, let's just say there was 5, okay? And Jason Fager ruined his party because he got 3rd on night 1. He got 2nd on night number 2. Bad beat there for Bert, 5, not 6. And then he said there would be at least 4 different winners between the Castrol Flow Racing Night in America late model race, the 2 World of Outlaw late model races, and the 2 Lucas Oil late model races. Well, we had Garrett Alberson, Jonathan Davenport, Bobby Pierce, and the Reaper, Ryan Gustin, won the other one. So there was 4 different winners. He got that one correct. All right. Coach, you had 3 come off the board as well. I'm going to be honest with you. Jeff tried to screw you here. He gave you incorrect for all 3 of them, but I caught him, right? I had your back. I fixed it. So the first 2 that you got wrong, World of Outlaw late models, 6 different podium finishers. Pierce, Squirrel, and Ryan Gustin were the same but different order on night number 2. So that was wrong. Fallen Lineman, you said there would be 6 different podium finishers. There was 5. Old Dusty Bitson doubled up. There was 5, yeah. Dusty Bitson, Tyler Peterson, Dan Ebert, night 1. Dusty Bitson, Brady Gertis, and Landon Atkinson, night number 2. And then you said the Lucas Oil Dirt late models would have 6 different podium finishes. Night number 1, Garrett Alberson, Devin Moran, and Hudson O'Neill. Night number 2, Superman Jonathan Davenport, RTJ, and Max Blair. So congrats on that one. You got that one correct. The Uper had 3 incorrect here. Bobby Pierce would go winless this weekend in the World of Outlaws. He got a 1st and a 2nd. That was incorrect. He said, and there was a little, he didn't want credit for this. So he said David Gravel's point lead would be under 100, and it was like 110. So it was like really close. And I know you clowned him, and you're like, that's a freaking, like, what are you talking about? That's a bunt. That shouldn't even count. And then he tried playing that card, say, well, see, it don't count. Coach said it doesn't count. Well, it does count because the point lead's 110. It's not under 100. So incorrect. Sorry, buddy. And then here's one. I want your comment on this one. Here's his third prediction last week. The washed up 29 star will have 0 top 5 finishes the remainder of 2024, and it doesn't count unless at least 6 cars finish. Coach, 4th place.
Can I? Is it legal to flash a big flying middle finger on this show? Because that's just what I did to him.
Let's see it. I'll give it to him. Let's see it.
One of these right here. That's what he gets.
There you go, Yooper. There you go, Yooper. All right. So I had a couple come off the board. I said Johnny Broking was going to win the KME series. He was tied with Pat Noor. And then I had Bert and Crow saying, oh, that's a bunt. That shouldn't even count. I jinxed him. He got 8th. Struggle bus there for Johnny at 525. Not a big fan of the monster attack and big cushion. And then I said Tristan Labarge would win the track championship at the Hibbing Raceway. And he was 2 points ahead of his cousin Andy. And they both started side by side in row number 4. And that's how you want it, right? Whoever wins the championship. He drove to the front. He got it done and got me the point. Thanks, Tristan. And then I said Corey Day would have, and this one I almost bit me because I didn't know there was split fields, but I said Corey Day would have at least 1 win and at least 1 additional podium. And I was assuming there was going to be 3 tries at this and he only got 2 races. Well, he won them both. So I got that one correct. And then we had Beefcake here for the peanut gallery. Fallen lineman would be the same podium finish both nights. That did not happen. He said Bobby Pierce would win 2 of 3. He did. And he said the other one would be a DNF, but it was a second. So it's a tough one there. And then another bad beat here. He said Dusty Mitson would double sweep the fallen lineman races. Night number 1 won his heat, won the feature. Night number 2, he won the feature, but 3rd in the heat. Bad beat. He should have just said he was going to win both features. So tough beat there. So our standings, we keep track of correct predictions and correct percentages. And leading the way, the Yooper is still pencil whipping us here. But he's at 23 correct. Bert's at 18. Coach is at 17. And I'm at 16 along with the peanut gallery. The percentage correct, that is still Yooper at 30.7, but I'm gaining on him here. I'm at 24.6. I got a lot coming off the board here soon. And then it is Peanut Gallery at 23.5, Coach at 23.3, and Bert at 22.2. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make 3 laps around the track here. We're going to go Coach, Changa, then I got Beefcakes, Yoopers, and then Bert is going to join us, I think, via Zoom. He's going to try to get that done. We'll slide his in. And then I got my own. So, Coach, to end this show, give us your first bold prediction.
I am going to go to this B-Mod Bedlam. Is that what it's called? 30,000 to win something down there like that at Arrowhead Raceway, because I believe that's what it's called. 3 out of the top 5 finishers in the A feature are going to be Wiota cars.
Man, I hope you're right. At least 3?
Correct.
Or specifically?
Yes, at least 3.
Okay. At least 3 in the finale will be Wiota cars. And I hope there's 5, but 3 would be super cool. Good luck to all the Wiota drivers heading down there. That's a pretty big show. Want to see you represent well. All right, Changa, your first prediction.
I'm going to go high limits, and I'm going to say 2 drivers will double up out of the 5 races.
Off the record, any prediction on which 2?
Off the record, I'm going to go Sweet and Day.
Sweet and Day. All right, so 2 double up. All right. Beefcake's going to go high limit as well. And he said not quite the same as you. He said there's going to be at least 4 different winners. And between all the races, there will be at least 8 different drivers with podium finishes. So at least four different winners and at least 8 drivers with podium finishes over all the nights this week in high limit sprint car action. All right, Youper, his first prediction here. David Gravel will podium all 3 nights this week at Huset's, but will win 0 nights this week at Huset's. 3 podiums, no wins. All right, now we're going to go ahead and let Bert slide in via Zoom, I believe. We'll see if we can make this happen. So here's Bert's first prediction. All right, and now my first prediction. I'm going to go Labor Day. Actually, I'm going to go the Labor Day swing. This is counting the Silver 1000, the Wiota Classic, both days of the Labor Day shootout. There will be at least 5 different chassis manufacturers that get podium spots in the late model division at those 4 races. So the Silver, the Classic, both days of Labor Day, at least 5 different chassis manufacturers will get podium finishes at those events. All right, Coach, your second prediction.
I'm going up to Hibbing. I know ripped on it, Hibbing Speedway a little bit this weekend for driving 26 miles an hour on the track compared to the high flying half mile, Changa. Don't fall asleep on it, Changa, over there. It looked like you're going to fall asleep, tip over your chair, get a concussion, and someone's got to go give you mouth to mouth. And I know neither Ryan or I are going to do
You're
that.
way too far away.
Yeah, be careful over there, buddy. So out of the top, the 4 main classes, Lates, Mods, Supers, Midwest Mods, no repeat winners in any class this year at the Hibbing Labor Day Shootout.
Nice.
Okay, nobody doubling up. That's a good prediction. I like it. All right, Changa, your second prediction.
So I'm going to do the Northern Swing as well. Between the Silver 1000, the Classic, and Labor Day Shootout, the 7A Shane Sabraski wins over 50% of the features he's in. 50% or more, I'm sorry.
All right, 50% or more win rate for the 7A. You got a lot of success up there. We'll see what happens. Them locals, they run pretty good, especially the late models, but all the classes. I'm a Shane Sabraski guy, but I that's our home turf up there. I want our hometown guys to represent. So, got to be honest, nothing against Shane, but I hope you're wrong. All right. Beefcake, his second prediction. By the end of the 2024 season, between the Lucas Oil and World of Outlaw late model series, there will be at least 2 more first-time winners in that respective season between now and the end of the year. That's bold. Not a lot of races left and kind of been dominant, but at least 2 first-time winners, and it can be both Lucas, both World of Outlaw, combination, whatever, but at least 2 first-time winners. All right, Youper, his second prediction. He's gonna go US MTS. There's 4 races, 3 at Deer Creek, 1 at Mason City this weekend. Jim Chisholm, Jake Tim will be the only drivers that win features in US MTS races this weekend. And they will both podium all of the events. So Jim Chisholm, Jake Tim will both podium every night, and they will be the only winners this weekend. All right, Bert, his second prediction. Go ahead, Bert. All right, my second prediction now, I'm going to go down as well. I'm going to go to Deer Creek Speedway for the Fall Jamboree US MTS races down there. And you know what? I'll factor in Mason City. So I'll go the 4 US MTS races. Brandon Davis will win at least 1 and will podium at least 1 and will finish top 5 in an additional race above and beyond that. So at least one top 5, one podium, and one win. Could be all wins, could be whatever. But Brandon Davis going to have 3 solid nights minimum down in USMTS action. He's tough local down there. All right. 3rd lap around the track for the 29 star of Jeff Kraus.
We are going USMTS modified racing. And you know how I like parody. We got to stick with the parody theme here. So we're going to go 4 different winners. There's going to be 4 completely different winners this weekend at USMTS. So 4 nights of racing, 4 different winners.
All right. Very well could happen. I mean, that is a stout group down there. And then you figure in Rodney Sanders, Joe Chisholm, right? Lucas Schott, Jake O'Neill, right? I mean, there's all right, parity in USMTS. That's been a common theme. All right, Changa, 3rd lap around the track. What do you got?
Well, I think I'm going to go back to the 7A. I'm going to say the 7A completes the comeback and wins the Mod National Championship.
All right. So you don't like Canadians either, then, is what you're saying? And you don't like Buzzy Stearns? You're just all right.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm probably cheering for Buzzy, but I got nothing against any of them. But I think the 7A is going to complete the deal and come all the way back and win it.
You know, he could be. I think he could have the lead potentially by the end of this week. Now, remember, Buzzy's got Menominee and 2 nights at Rice Lake this weekend, which that's his home turf. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun race to watch. And then if Stearns got a couple over in Aberdeen, plus he has Madison on Monday. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. All right, Beefcake, his 3rd and final prediction. He's going to go Viking Speedway modified action. And he has Viking Speedway. The mods and supers, the winners will double up. Okay. So whoever wins Saturday is going to win Sunday. So mods and supers going to double up. And a little parlay here, the 29 star will have at least 1 podium to go along with that. So if you win both, that would be even better, right? So at least 1 podium. So Beefcake giving you a little love there. A little love there from Beefcake. All right. Uper, his 3rd and final. There is 88 possible points this week in our pick'ems. At least 3 of us will have 35 or more points, and at least 2 will have less than 20 points on the week. And Good Jeff, or Uper, is going to have more points than the old whiny Man Bun Dan carrying washed up soccer coach, the other Jeff, in points this week. All right. So Uper's that must be you. I'm not really sure that must be you. I'm assuming that's you. I'm not sure. So Uper said he's going to have more points than Coach Kraus. All right. So 33 with 35 or more, at least 2 less than 20. All right. Bert, 3rd and final prediction. All right.
Good job,
And
Bert.
for Bert, he's always so bold. He's always bold. My 3rd and final prediction is this. And I had a hard time deciding if I wanted to go late models or Midwest mods, but I'm going to go Midwest mods because I already have a late model prediction. So between the Wissota Classic at Grand Rapids and both nights of the Labor Day Shootout, all 3 winners. Oh, Changa left us. All 3 winners will be drivers that are top 5 in points at the respective track. So the Rapids winner will be top 5 in points in Rapids, and both winners in Hibbing will be top 5 points. So going to be local guys winning the Midwest mods. So Changa left us. That's okay. We are wrapping up here anyway. So what was that, Coach? Episode number 238. So episode number 238 in the book. So invitational season is here. So, Coach, good luck to you this weekend. I want to see that 29 star in Victory Lane. Long overdue. You can't go a year without winning a feature. That would be painful. You're finding a little bit of speed. Won the heat, top 5. I think you're due. You feeling good about it? You going to get a win this weekend? What do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely feeling good about it. So you obviously got to stay positive. Flip side is hockey starts on Monday, man. So guys coming to town, getting pretty excited for that when you get the new group in town and get going. And I'll be on the ice on Tuesday for practice and getting ready to rock. So exciting times over here in Alexandria, Minnesota.
Absolutely. Well, good luck to you. Good luck to all the Wiota racers. Good luck to the Wiota guys heading down to the BMOD Bedlam. I know we got a bunch of guys from the area also heading down to the XR Stock Car Rampage. I think Satter, Chris Peterson, there's a few of them heading down there as well. Good luck to those drivers. And we will have a full recap next week of the start of invitational season. And who knows, maybe I'll find my way to a track and do a post race. Maybe I'll see Puka up there. I'm thinking I'm going to get up to Hibbing Sunday. Not sure about Saturday yet. So as always, thanks to all of our great sponsors. Give us any feedback, any questions you might have, anything fun and exciting happens. Let Kraus, let myself, let Bert, Changa, let one of us know. And thanks for tuning in to the One to Go Show.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please leave a review and subscribe. It is Puka. And Goat Sports has another show out there by podcast, Facebook, and YouTube. It's the Tea with Miss McGill show. Covers hockey, high school hockey in northern Minnesota. So if you're into hockey, you can find us on podcast under Tea with Miss McGill. You can find us on YouTube or Facebook, Goat Sports Media LLC. Yours truly and Coach Reed Larson. We break it down every week. We also do some interesting interviews. We'd love to have you. So tell your friends, tell your enemies, and we'll catch you next week.
Goat Sports.